Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and this is Dr.Kishan Shaji Balaram, and today in this video we'll be discussing how to complete our FMG questions while studying for the examination. Now in this video we'll be mainly talking about three parts. Firstly, we have our question bank, then we have our PYQs, and then we have our tests and GTs. Now there are n number of platforms which allow us to do question banks, GTs and all. Over that, for my personal reasons, I choose Marrow over other platforms. Now why I choose Marrow and what are decisions which led me for choosing Marrow will be discussed later on this video. And now let's get right into it. Okay, I'll be talking about the question bank. Now we know that as much as it is important as doing our PYQs, it is also important doing our question bank. Now why is our question bank important? Then it's this because see, in an examination there will be some unknown topics, some unknown questions which we have never heard before. So this eliminates that fear of what we will do whilst encountering such a question, and it also gives us a bright perspective as to which how all the questions can come. Now, how to effectively complete your question bank? For this, which I did, is just a simple trick which everyone can follow. See, while studying your notes or listening to videos, say for an example, today you studied patho, you completed the first 4 topics, and now you revised your topics, and in night you're sitting idle. So this time you can utilize it by doing the topics question bank. Now suppose you have completed cell injury, inheritance disorders and cancer markers and all. So go to your question bank, see the topics related to these see the question bank related to these topics, and try completing it. Now, there's not a certain number as to how much questions you should do in a day, but try completing the topics which you studied on that day. Now, while doing this, there will be a little confusion as to should we complete the whole entire subject array that the platform has offered us. See, that goes on to your personal preference, and some things should be left out which are not needed. Now, while doing these question banks, it is also important that we revise these questions later, like before 2 to 3 days before our exam. Now for that, the method I devised is that in Marrow they provide us with bookmarks. Now there are mainly 3 bookmarks which they provide us. One is their blue one, which is the normal one. The second is the question mark yellow one, and the third is the red star one. Now in my mind I categorized these bookmarks into 3 groups. The yellow question mark being the things that I didn't understand while giving a question, or the things that I got wrong. The blue one being the most asked questions, the questions I have seen multiple times, and the red one being the star, being that the questions that I think that may have a chance to come this year in my FMG examination. So this is a devised method which I used throughout my FMG journey, and it had helped me categorize my questions, and it had helped me to revise in a more efficient manner. Okay, now let's discuss about the PYQs. See, every app provides us with more than 10 years of PYQs, being it FMG, NEET PG, and INSET I think about 5 years. See, the utmost important for us is to complete the FMG PYQs, and I say because while doing the questions we get to know that what all are the type of questions they have been asking us. So our mind is prepared in a way. While reading our notes, we tend to have that vision as from where all the questions can come. See, this helps us in an overall manner. Now, the confusion we all have is like when to give the PYQs and when to complete it. For it, there's no right time. See, many of us think like that, like this, as if we should complete the whole subject and then we should do the PYQ, as it helps in increasing our confidence and will be in a positive note. And some of us, including me, think that it doesn't matter. See, this is not the day where anyone decides what your future is going to be. No one is going to judge you for this. Not even the percentage that Maru shows you will not judge you for what you have did. It just gives us a self-realization upon us as how much more we should work for it. That's all. That's just it. And just keep it as simple as it is. Now, when you should give the PYQs? See, what I did was, once 45% of the subject was completed, I started giving my PYQs because I knew that I wouldn't get time completing my whole PYQs. And the last 10 years, I did mainly for all the subjects. Mainly I think internal medicine and surgery, I think I left out one or two. See, everyone leaves out topics, everyone leaves out question bank. It's just some things are meant for luck. It's not upon us, and we cannot control everything that comes in our life. So while doing the PYQs, I made it clear that I used the method which I did for question bank, as categorizing each and every question using my bookmark method. And I made it important that I revise these PYQs while I revised my notes. See, revising your notes, seeing your videos again and again is important, but it is as important as revising the questions which you did in the PYQs and question bank. Now, what all questions you should revise depends upon you. It depends upon the person, as it may be the questions which you got wrong. It may be the questions which you have guessed. That depends upon each and every one, as how much he had studied in it. Now, as important as it is to give FMG PYQs, it is also important as to give NEET, PG and INSET PYQs. As we know, there has been a trend in which FMG questions have been overlapped to NEET, PG and INSET, and INSET questions have been overlapped to FMG. And while giving the last attempt, I had seen it. I had seen some NEET PYQs in a sort of a different language, but the question was the same. So I suggest that everyone should do at least 5 years of NEET PG PYQs, and if you don't have time, like per se you have just 2-3 months ahead of you, then go for just 1 year of the last year of INSET exam, and if you have done it, then just go for 1 more year of INSET exam. This is more than enough for your PYQs. FMG, NEET PG 5 years, INSET last year. Just keep revising them. Tests and GTs. Now, test, the thing which I liked about Marrow is that they have these mini tests. Maybe it's on Thursdays or maybe it's on every 2 weeks. But there are these mini tests on different topics. Maybe one day, one test was on the topics of clinical questions, next day on surgical instruments, next day on procedures, and it goes on, radiological features and all. So I made that I completed each and every mini test that came, and I also reviewed it. See, what it gave me was that a self of confidence. Okay, I can do questions. I can use my knowledge, what I have studied. And the second thing was that, as we know, while facing a new question or facing a question that we haven't seen in our lifetime, we tend to get scared. And while doing this mini test, it made me realize that I could eliminate my fear of seeing a new question. And that helped me in a lot while even giving my final examination. See, the important thing is that getting that fear out of your head. There are things that we don't know, and it's okay, but focus on what we know. And while thinking about the things that we don't know, we should not forget what we know. That is the important thing. Now, GTs. The same thing goes in for GTs and PYQs. There's no correct time, there's no number as to how much GTs we should give. See, the thing I thought was like, Saturday, Sunday, like in a month, the alternate Saturday and Sunday, like the second Saturday and Sunday, I kept it for my GTs. Saturday, morning 9 o'clock, I used to go to my library. I used to keep all my notes, everything aside. I would open my iPad and I would start my GT, part 1. And it would complete around 12:30. I would take 30 minutes gap, go drink some tea and all. And after that, I would start my part 2. And around 3 o'clock something, I think it would have finished. So after that, I would take rest, refresh myself, give some treat to myself, go have some tea, food of my liking. And that day, I would not do any more questions, as 300 MCQs for a day is more than enough for your brain to handle. If you can do. But for me, 300 a day was more than enough. In the night, I just used to revise my notes mainly, go through the notes, like while doing the GT, if I had some questions which I had known but I couldn't get to the answer, so I went through that notes, clarified it, got that things right. And in the Sunday, same time, I used to go to my library 9 o'clock. I used to sit till 3, and I went through each and every questions. I went to the explanation, I read through it, and I used my bookmark method in categorizing all these questions so that I can use it in the future. And as far as the number goes, I did around 7 to 8 GTs from Marrow itself. And I know like some of our friends like giving GTs from different apps. Like say you will give 5 GTs from 5 different apps. See, the problem over there is that each and every app has their way of increasing their difficulty. Some in the initially it would give them hard questions, and then it would be easy of them. So you will not be able to assess yourself correctly over this. Some GTs you would have gotten high marks, some you would have gotten low marks, but you wouldn't know as if was it tough, was it easy, what was the difficulty. So that's why I suggest everyone to follow just one app for giving your GTs. If it's Marrow, then give all Marrow. If it's Prep, then give all Prep. If it's Dr. Tutor, then go for Dr. Tutor. But just stick to one. Let's get to the last part of our video, and in this I would be telling why I choose Marrow over any other platform. So why Marrow? See, the main reason being this is that the app itself is more pleasing towards us, the Marrow app, and it is just easy using the app. There's no fuss, there's no unwanted gimmicks in it, just plain thing which keeps us focused on our studies. See, while I gave a GT in Prep Ladder, and in it we could pause it, and that is the thing I didn't know. And I didn't know if it is paused or not, and I thought it is paused, and I came out, and after coming back the time was running out. and it just gave unwanted stress. So from that day onwards, I didn't use prep ladder, and I completely shifted towards Marrow. And in it was more simpler. They had part 1, part 2, everything was time based. You cannot leave. If you left, yeah, I think you can leave, but the time still runs out, so there's no point in leaving while giving an exam. And it was more simpler. And while doing the question bank also, the prep ladder question bank, the language in it was way out of my league. I never understood what they were trying to say, like what they meant. Maybe it's just me. For me, the Marrow explanation was more in favor of my language and more understanding towards me than prep. So these were the things that made me choose Marrow. That's all. And it depends upon our personal situations and all. And there's, as everyone says, that there's no one perfect app. Marrow has its own tweaks and twerks in it. Prep also has it. All other apps on the platform has it. But in the end, it just goes down to your personal experience, personal choice as to which you want. So thank you for listening to me. Have a great day. And if there's any questions or query, you can give it down in the comments. I'll answer to it.